Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience, Tal. I appreciate it. Okay. Okay. Sorry, Nili, I thought it was you talking because I hadn't seen Tal before, and there was a. So my apologies for the confusion. Hi, Fredrik and Nili.
Hi.
Hope you're having a great day.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. Well, I imagine you have quite a broad space that you're working with because this is other, right? So you have all kinds of different projects. I would think that'd be the most fun.
Yeah. It's quite interesting to see the different categories as well. I mean, other seems very, very broad, but of course, I think if you look at the challenges that we have here in the cities and everything, it's it's very broad. So
Yes.
it probably encompasses everything else as well, actually. Yeah.
So it means there's a lot of creativity. I mean, well, you know what? Every single domain is going to have has some really interesting solutions. I've been going through the dev post, and there's some really amazing work in this hackathon, I have to say.
Wow. Yeah.
Let's see, now Elena's here and Nili's here.
So I'm still back as Elena.
Yeah.
Yeah, she still has the problem. So she went to log in through what you sent her, and she's in as Elena. Tal's showing as Elena. Okay. Okay, gotcha.
What's that?
She's working on it. I apologize.
No, sure. Just the question is when do we start? We need to start now. So
yeah, I think you need to. Yeah, welcome to the world of hackathons that are planned.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But
definitely.
hey,
so did you say anything else though, or?
She said she was going to try to fix something, but it's 7 o'clock. So I mean, this is your section, so it's up to you if you want to.
Right. No. I won't. I won't wait for it. I just want to make sure that she hasn't sent me another one. Just 1 second here. No, we're just gonna start, and my name would be incorrect. That's okay.
Okay, I'm going to leave now, and I'm going to kill my camera and lurk for a little bit. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Why won't it let me turn the camera off? Okay.
Hi, Brian. Aoife, am I saying this correct? Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll start in just a minute or two, just waiting for others to join us. Starting in 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're very happy to have you here in the Other Domain opening webinar. I'm Tal Har-Lev. It says otherwise on the bottom of my screen, but this is my name. I lead the Other Domain in the EU versus virus hackathon. I'm very happy to be here. We have here with us today the full operating team of the Other Domain. You will see their names probably everywhere in the Slack channels. Our head of mentor coordinators is Anais. You would see her name. Please make sure to approach her. We have Yaniv Pital, our head of team coordination. You will see his name probably everywhere as well. So make sure to turn to them when in need. We're going to try and do our best throughout this magnificent weekend. We're very happy to have you. So today we have a few speakers that we're happy to have here. We have Aoife Mangan. I really hope that I pronounced the name correct. Communication and Policy Officer at the European Commission. She's with us here for a brief moment to say a few words. And we also have here Nili Shalev, national Israeli national curator for this hackathon, and we'd love to see her as well. Nili, can you say hi for us? Nili, I'm not sure that we can all hear you. Well, welcome to virtual hackathons. Oh, now I see you. Hi, Nili. We can hear you, but not stable yet. Let's try again. Well, I guess the connection is not that stable for now. I will, in the meantime, I will just introduce Nili. Nili is the Managing Director and National Coordinator of ISERD, the Israel Innovation Authority. And as I said, she is the Israeli National Curator for this hackathon. No, Nili, maybe we'll turn on the webcam. Maybe if you do that, then we can hear you better.
I can see Nili's picture.
Yeah, well, I hope that she comes back with a bit stable, more stable connection, and we get to hear her greetings. I'm going to say that I lead the Other Domain as part of the Israeli team that is involved in this hackathon.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Nili. Yes, let's try this again.
Okay.
Okay, but for now...
Elena, can you hear me out of interest?
Sorry?
Can you hear me okay out of interest?
Yeah, Brian, we can. Okay. Yes. As
you can hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is Elena. I've changed my name to your name so it appears.
Oh, thank you very much, Elena.
Just so you have your name. Do you need any help? Do you need any help with tech? Can I help with tech? Because
I think that we're good for now. We were just waiting to hear a few words from Aoife and Nili, but I think that connection is failing us.
I think that I can give some tips at least to Aoife. Aoife, if you sometimes when you enter, there's not a default about the mic and the video, so I would suggest you go on top where it says on and click on it again, and that would help you turn on your mic. So if you go on the top there's the on the mic. It's next to the camera, and you can just try it like that. You have to play a little bit around with it, and then when you go and click on, then you will have it will yeah.
Well, the second,
It will eventually.
right. Well, the second either of Nili or Aoife already were very happy to hear them.
Okay.
But
Okay.
until then, I would say that we also have two wonderful speakers tonight with us. We have Fredrik Hanell, business creation director at EAT Urban Mobility, and Brian Kilkelly, development lead at Climate KIC. I would just say that the European institution EAT is the European Institution of Innovation and Technology. It is a European body created by the European Union in 2008 to strengthen Europe's ability to innovate. And it supports the development of dynamic, long-term European partnerships among leading companies, research labs, and higher education. And these partnerships are called innovation communities, and each is dedicated to finding solutions to a specific global challenge, from climate change, with what we are about to hear on, and sustainable energy to healthy living and food. The EAT hub in Israel was established last year as a bridge between the EU and the Israeli innovation ecosystem, and we're more than honored to have here Fredrik Hanel and Brian Kilkelly. So Brian, the stage is yours, and will you share your screen with us, please?
Sorry, Anna, would you like me to go first?
That's okay.
Okay.
So you wanted me to share my screen?
Sorry, no, Fredrik.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see my screen?
We do see your screen. I think that everyone is able to see your slides.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks. So, thank you so much. It's good to be here. I think that EIT Urban Mobility is probably one of the youngest of the so-called KICs in EIT, and we were founded in the end of 2018. And I mean, the purpose of EIT Urban Mobility is to accelerate positive change on mobility for more livable urban spaces. And looking at today's model of urban mobility, basically it's not really sustainable. That's kind of obvious for everyone. So we know that 23% of Europe's greenhouse gas emissions are produced by transport. We know that 50% of all the public space is taken up by roads. 67% of the road accidents happen in cities. 1 year of our life is spent commuting. And the economic consequences of congestion are 130 billion euros. So of course, this doesn't sound very good, but we have this horrible, I'd say, social experiment in the form of the virus that has changed things around quite a lot. So the mobility patterns have changed due to the lockdowns, of course, and we see that in many European cities, the levels of nitrogen dioxide have gone down since last year from between 40 to 55%. Looking at Berlin as an example in this case, the only mode of transport that actually has increased is the use of bikes. E-scooters, e-mopeds, ride sharing, everything that is shared has decreased quite significantly. And One of the main reasons is, of course, worries about contagion, getting infected, and also worries about sanitization. So you never know if the person who's taking an e-scooter actually had the virus. So in total, 58% of the demand for these mobility services has decreased. Going forward, this huge change is actually inciting the cities to try and make this permanent afterwards. So a lot of cities are actually trying to use this change in pattern to remodel their spaces in the cities. Looking at Milan, for example, the congestion dropped due to the coronavirus between 30 and 75%. And this summer, they will be launching a project called the Strade Aperte Plan, where 35 kilometer streets will be transformed specifically to try and keep up that people are using the bicycles instead of using the cars in the streets. It's much inspired by the super blocks model in Barcelona. I don't know if you're aware of that, but basically you create environments where traffic and cars are very limited. Going forward, the consequences and some ideas going forward to actually hack the virus, well, there are three phases where we can see that innovation and initiatives would be very useful for this. I mean, first of all, just to attack the virus, there are, of course, applications like telehealth systems, tracking apps, implementations where personal data needs to be secure and not shared with anyone outside of course, the limited community. Forecasting services to forecast where the virus will develop and when it will sort of, the levels will go down. Different ways of prioritizing frontline heroes, medical staff, etc., to enable them to actually reach their jobs more easily, etc. We've seen implementations of high safety routes, meaning you can see in an app where you are least likely to meet other people, and thus least likely to actually maybe have an exchange with somebody who has the virus. The next phase would be the day after, ramping up again. And people talk about that a lot, of course. You have implementations like gig economy, where everything from mobile shops to everybody knows Uber Eats, of course, and the delivery services, distance working platforms, revised public transport systems, traffic planning, home and local delivery services, and IoT to measure traffic loads and measure anything from people's mobility patterns, etc. And the last stage would be the new city, i.e., can we use these learnings that we have now and actually improve the local environment in the cities? And there are applications like pandemic early warning systems, simulation tools, integration software to integrate between different, everything from mobility as a service systems and integrate them with IoT systems, for example, homeschooling. Mobility as a service is going to still be around even in the new city, of course, and different ways to implement superblocks. So where EIT urban mobility comes in this is obviously if you have these kind of ideas and contribute to an improved urban environment, the easiest way is to reach out to us through the business creation activities. We have accelerators that will be starting now in June, where you can apply for the accelerators. Sorry, my presentation disappeared here. Oh, there it is. Sorry. We have financial. We have tracks where we finance and invest in startups and scale-ups. We have a program called the Scale-Up Hub, where we help scale-ups and introduce them to cities. So if they have a pilot or an interesting idea, they are absolutely, we help them to get these introductions to the cities. Another interesting opportunity for startups today is through the EU Startups Prize for Mobility. And they are specifically, due to the Corona crisis, they have launched Day After program to help startups get investment by allowing them to pitch in front of a number of reputable European investor programs and investors. This program closes last of April, so if anyone is interested in applying, you should apply now. So to finish off with a nice picture, so this would be the city post-virus, of course, and it's also the kind of city that we are working for within EIT Urban Mobility. So thank you so much, and and hand over to you again. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Fredrik. This has been actually very, very interesting, and we encourage you to work in light of these thoughts, a direction of thoughts. And we hand off the mic to Brian. So Brian Kilkelly, as mentioned earlier. Brian, are you with us? Brian is the development lead at Climate KAC, sorry, KIC.
Indeed, hopefully.
Brian, I think that your mic is actually on, but your camera is off.
Ah, okay. Let me. Has that worked?
We can hear you for now. We may
okay.
see you in a second. I actually see that your camera is still off. Okay. Hi there. Wait, we can't hear you for some reason. Brian, let's give it another try. I think your mic is off. No, we can't hear you. Try to turn off and turn on your mic once more, please. No, unfortunately, I don't know why we can't. We could hear you earlier. I'm going to do something like this. Try and... No, nothing works? No. Are you connected with anything that wasn't there before? No, we can't hear you, Brian. Sorry. Brian, there's also okay. Brian will try to rejoin us. So we'll just wait for a second. In the meantime, I will enable all mics. So if you have any questions, please, this is a good time until Brian is reconnected. So if you have any question, please turn on your mic as an attendee, as a participant, and just shout out.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. So thank you for
The name is Jan.
and inspiring introduction to the other domain. I'm Harm, based in Amsterdam. I'm the founder and CEO of iLabs Technologies and also the Chief Strategy Officer of Ukuru, a digital identity company. And we participate in this hackathon with the project name OpenKate, with to support traveling through the air when the borders open again. So with the COVID-19 extra requirements, see how we can have paperless and biometric-based processes that are facilitated with apps and technologies.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's nicely. I was wondering which kind of category it would be fitting in best, but after seeing this intro, I think it matches well. So
yeah, I will. Thank you for the question. Actually, that's a great question. Well, the definition of the other domain is quite funny. Brian, I see you here with us, so we'll get back with you in just 1 second.
Sure.
We took the time for some questions. So the definition of the other domain is a bit funny. Is the some kind of a buckets domain to all the challenges and all the solutions, all the ideas that didn't find a home, I would say, in the other challenges in the other 5 domains. This is the 6th domain, and we welcome any idea that doesn't fit the other different categories, the other 5 domains. And we gave some challenges just to inspire some directions of thought, such as Fredrik's direction and Brian, who will be telling us a bit about this in a second. But we welcome any idea and any solution that you think is that could fit this situation, this era of COVID-19, and the one afterwards. Hopefully, it will be soon. So, Brian, I hand off the mic to you.
Great. Thanks very much, Alan. Apologies about the technical issues earlier on, but yeah, good to be back here and fantastic to be in the meeting. So thanks very much for the invitation. It's great to be part of this very important initiative. Is my sound coming across okay? Awesome. Great. So I'm presenting on behalf of the European Institute of Technology Climate KIC. And we have the role for the last 10 years. So we're one of the older KICs after Fredrik presented one of the younger KICs that have been seeking to kind of really help Europe transition. And as I guess you can tell, we're all about climate change. And what I wanted to kind of present today briefly was hopefully some inspiration around, when we're thinking about the COVID-19 crisis and the kind of ways in which we want to, I guess, hack the system and use innovation to improve things. There's also, of course, an enormous opportunity to use this crisis and to rebuild from this crisis in a way that will tackle the longer term challenge of climate change. So that is, I guess, was the emergency, which was on the top of many people's agendas before COVID-19 hit us. And once we've solved COVID-19, then it will continue to be one of the biggest challenges that we need to solve. So the question, I suppose, for us at Climate KIC and for hopefully the hackathon community is, how do we solve this crisis and at the same time build a strong foundation for future crisis? So I wanted to kind of, I guess, share this point that over the last 10 years, one of the things that we've observed and learnt on the climate challenge is this challenge around moving beyond incremental innovation and improvement. So kind of single point improvements, which might be, say, improving the functionality of a car or a building, to look at how can we move to more of a systems innovation. So we have real transformational change. So moving beyond single projects and siloed improvements to much more about how the interconnection between the way we work and play works much better. And one of the things we've observed is the need to understand much more deeply how systems do work currently. So how does the finance system work? How does the transport system works? How does the housing market work? How does procurement work? What are those levers of change that, if we can change those levers, then we can bring about much more accelerated change. So we've been looking at kind of understanding the system and understanding what are the, where can we kind of act. And I guess some of the areas where we see opportunities for change are around thinking about repurposing, so reframing the challenge. So if you look at, for example, energy efficiency in homes, then saving energy in homes is for sure very important, but actually fuel poverty and comfort in homes is sometimes more of a pressing issue for people than saving money on energy costs or saving energy at all. So it's about re-looking at the problem in terms of what's really affecting people's lives now, what's really hurting them, where their real needs are, and framing things in that context rather than hoping and trying to appeal to people's higher level concern around the climate, for example. And I think COVID-19 also is providing a lot of opportunities for people to rethink what's important in their lives, where value lies. For example, I think now we're beginning to understand how important our community is around us in a whole different way. Also, there's an opportunity to look at changing the power structures. So again, how do decisions get made? What are the rules at play? How do resources flow? How does information flow? Again, we're seeing information flowing in lots of different ways as a result of COVID-19. We're actually seeing the return of the importance of expertise, which is fantastic. So suddenly science has become, hopefully, more respected and more important than it might have been before COVID-19. So perhaps that's an opportunity there when we think about the long-term challenge of climate change as well, to point to what the scientists are telling us about that challenge. Thinking about resources, so how can we use people, money, knowledge, technology in new and different ways? So as you start your hackathon this weekend and think about COVID-19, thinking about how can resources be used differently would be a great approach. And we're seeing how people are in communities offering help to people who are maybe vulnerable or living alone, and making, in a way, we're kind of reusing our individual resources as individuals to help people in new ways. Relationships is another area where we can really kind of look at how we change the way the ecosystem works. And so these are kind of examples, I guess, of where you can start thinking about things from a systems approach rather than incremental change. And this probably is a little bit difficult to read. Hopefully we can make these handouts available after these talks. But this is some material from one of our partners called Dark Matter Labs. We've been doing a lot of work on systems change over the years. And one of the things I'm hoping to kind of show here is that COVID-19 is the crisis that's right in front of us now, but alongside this crisis, and in a way, this will kind of cascade the risks. We'll have increasing risks as a result of the combination of the climate emergency and demographic change. So as populations age, as this virus and more viruses hit us, and as our resources become challenged by climate change, so extreme events like floods and extreme heat will make it more difficult for us to react and respond to crisis like this. And these are the kind of I guess, future scenarios that we need to plan for. And what it requires for us is to think about how do we develop our systems in a way that can respond much more resiliently, much more agile to these continued crises. Our partner describes it as the age of long emergencies, which is a little bit depressing, perhaps, but it's a reality which I think we need to prepare for. How do we build systems which are much more agile at dealing with emergencies as they continue to come? And so our innovations need to be considering that. They need to be considering how they can be as agile and as responsive as possible, and to really change systems so that our systems are not as brittle and as fixed as they currently are. And that includes the way we finance things, the way we govern things, and the way we use our resources. So just some ideas there, really, hopefully, to kind of inspire some of the thinking. We have a strategy which we've shared and which we can continue to share with you, where we've developed a process to, if you like, take forward this systems thinking with our partners across Europe. And we're working with a lot of startups already in this area. We've supported something like 1,500 startups over the last 10 years across Europe. We've got lots of resources available to start thinking about innovation more systemically.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. Everyone, this is a great time for questions and answer. We have about 5 more minutes. You can ask anything about the domain, or any questions directed to Fredrik or Brian are more than welcome. So just make sure to turn on your mic and ask away. So I think that what we do is we will be here. All speakers will be here for a few more minutes. That includes Brian, myself, Fredrik, and we also have Aoife from the EU Commission. So any questions, you're more than welcome to stay here with us for a few minutes. This webinar is recorded and will be available for everyone afterwards in Slack. And other than that, good luck to all.
Hello, I have a question from here from the UK.
Okay, I would before we given by Brian, so you can download it on your platform.
I think we had a question coming through there, Eleanor, from somebody.
Can you hear me? Is that Brian?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Brian. Dialing in from the UK, Andrew here. I have a project called the GRI, which is the Government Responsiveness Metric. So my project isn't really an application, nor is it, say, a UI or a platform, but it's really a metric which I'm trying to design to aid research groups in conducting studies on basically government actions and the speed on which these government actions are put into place. So really what I'm looking at is to tie it into a lot of sort of social studies in terms of social behavior, and as well as mitigation and containment measures for different countries. So is that applicable in this hackathon as well?
The idea there will be the need you're trying to address is around understanding how governments are acting, how authorities are working, and to try and make some sense of all the different actions. Is that what it is?
Correct. And in more detail, it's really the speed and the timing of the actual implementation. So we already have a lot of groups out there collecting this information locally. But what I want to do is I want to tie it back to certain, I would say call it epidemic milestones. For example, the first day of infection and any increases in order of magnitudes in infections, and also in terms of international, say, announcements like WHO announcements and stuff like that. So it's really to identify what is the time frame in which certain responses come into play and how that affects many other factors in the pandemic.
That sounds interesting. I'm just trying to think whether that fits into one of the other domains. It sounds really useful to help guide action. So I would think in terms of the overall hackathon, it sounds to me as very appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'd say go for it. But yeah, you might want to think about whether that's. I think I haven't got the list of the domains here. I know there was a health domain, but it sounds like yours is more generally about just helping all the actors respond more swiftly by having better information available. So perhaps it does sit under other, but I guess regardless, it sounds very, very useful to me. I'd go for it. I'd go for it, Andrew.
Okay, thanks for the input, Brian.
Pleasure. And there's a question in the chat here saying, do you believe that politicians and governments will be ready to accept radical solutions after coronavirus? I think the answer is yes. I think governments are really keen politicians to kind of think quite radically. Now is absolutely the time to come up with new ideas and new solutions. So I think yeah. Yeah. Now is time for radical action.
For any last questions, you're more than welcome to ask here or at the Slack channels. So the other domain has all the C37 Slack channels, and we're waiting for you there. As per Andrew's question before, the domains are health and life, business continuity, social and political cohesion, remote working in education, digital finance, and any other solution is welcome at the other domain. We have another question here. Brian, did you see that one? I think that's more of a statement.
EU level. Well, yes and no, I'd say. I mean, for sure, both Fredrik and I are really open to ideas and suggestions, and we can help with that coordination at the EU level. But I would say that actually, depending on your particular innovation, there are many communities and groups where you can engage with to get traction. So I think innovation works best in the particular domain that it's targeting, whether it's finance or real estate or governments or city level. So I would say, find interest wherever you can. Once you get some traction, then organizations like the KICs, like EIT, are a useful vehicle for then taking that to an EU level. But both urban mobility and climate KIC and the other KICs, we will have open calls. We're always open for new ideas, new innovations. So send us your ideas, and we'll do what we can. Otherwise, find people, find interest wherever you can to get your innovation going.
Yeah, I think the quickest way to get some response is actually through the city governments and at the local level to start with.
Yeah, and I mean, to build on that, what Fredrik said, there's also a question here from Irina. I think it's your question. Do you believe the communities will play a bigger role as a producer and consumer of energy in regards to energy security and independence? I think yes, the answer to that. We are seeing a shift more to community energy, which I think, in view of what I said earlier on about the cascading risks, that actually community energy is one of the ways in which we can have a more resilient infrastructure overall. Less reliance on big mega infrastructure systems that are quite fragile. I think moving away from that is going to be important. So I think yes, The challenge there is that there is an element still of kind of, I guess, citywide and national infrastructure that we need as a kind of backup to for the energy system. How we finance that in the world of community energy is one of our challenges that we need to solve. Yeah. There's another question about do the questions need to be just about these topics? I think Fredrik and I, I'm sure, would be happy to answer any questions relating to innovation in general if you have them. We'll do our best. So if you have questions that aren't related to mobility or to climate, then we'll give it a go.
Exactly that. I will just tell you that we have 1 more minute until the webinar is closed. So for any questions regarding topics or the hackathon in general, you're welcome to ask at the Slack channels, at the C37 Slack channels. And for direct questions for Brian and Fredrik, you also have their emails in the webinar information. And we are happy to send them to anyone who asks, of course. And we will also upload the recording of this webinar.
Sorry, can I ask a very fast question?
Yeah, let's give it a try.
It's quite general, but I think it's going to be useful for many people here. There is many steps to register on different websites, development websites, and other kind of things. If we got an idea, we got a project, we've registered via the normal overall system and to the DevOps website thing. Do we need any extra step to be ready for this evening, or are we good to start?
You're good to start. You need to. So if you have already uploaded your project draft to DevPost, you're good to start. We have mentors and mentor meetings and webinars, experts webinars tomorrow and on Sunday. You're more than welcome to start working. Sunday evening is the final deadline for submitting through DevPost.
Okay, thank you very much. One more thing, we're supposed to have a mentor. Is this attribution automatic, or are we supposed to go ask for one?
You are supposed to go and ask for one. Tomorrow morning, we will have all mentors assigned per team to whichever team who needs a mentor.
So we don't need to ask for one. That will be attributed to the teams.
No, I'm sorry, I apologize. On the contrary, you do need to ask for one. We have one ready for you, but we need to know that you need one.
Okay, so, this was not made entirely clear in the Slack.
Okay,
so
I apologize. So just please reach out to Team Coordinator. There's a Slack channel for that. Please reach out and we'll be happy to set up a meeting.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Huge thanks to Fredrik, Hanell, and to Brian Kilkelly for being here with us. Thank you very, very much. We'll see you all in the rest of the events throughout the hackathon. Good luck to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.